There was Kelly White when I went to them. There was Christy Gaines and there was Christy Aaron, the French. There was Zana Bloch. There was also, that was the time when we had Marion Jones, and so there were quite a number of athletes that actually we competing then, and some were just not just like sprinters. Also, we could actually, because there were also 400-meter runners that would actually also double up and actually run the 200 meters. Veronica Campbell is one of the greatest also that I actually had a chance to compete with her, and a number of Europeans also.
And how did you perform at the Olympics?
Well, I was just in the first round. I couldn't advance to the next round like what I did in the World Championships. As you know, that Olympics, it's quite it's really has high caliber of athletes, and also you need to be very well prepared. So my season prior to that was not really, I wasn't really so well prepared to I was prepared to get into the competition and do everything that I needed to do in terms of preparation. But you find other athletes that also prepared. So it was really, really tough, because I actually ran 11.56, which couldn't actually give me another spot going to the next round of the games.
So in the 100 meters, you were number 6, right?
Yes, I was.
And how did you feel?
As an athlete, I think you always feel you could have done more, because that's the idea of competition, and that's the idea of you preparing to get to this stage, is always wanting to know what you could actually have done better. You never really walk away being satisfied that you do. I feel like I could have done much better in the games. But you never really you can't. But now, as I'm older and looking back, and I realized that it was quite an effort. I actually did my best of considering the situations that I was in, and also the environment that we were in. So I really did my best.
So after the Olympics, something happened. What happened thereafter?
Well, after the Olympics, because also before the Olympics, when I was at the World Championships, my coach, Monica Veneva, she actually got in a car accident and she couldn't coach anymore. So I had to make a decision whether I was going to stay in SA and actually compete and still train and find another coach, or go back home to Zim and find another coach and also continue to train. So I had an opportunity, because I had met John Cannon, the Canadian, when I was actually at the when I was in Tunisia, when I left Commonwealth, when I went to Manchester to go to the African Championships in Tunisia. So I met him. He had actually a great athlete, Kaltuma, from Chad. So she was a great 400-meter runner for Chad. So he actually invited me to come to Canada and train with him. But then, because that was 2002, things were going great with my coach and everything was run. I had plans, which turned out to be great plans, because that's when I managed to run my personal best, which is the Zimbabwean records that stands up to now. So that's how, after the Olympics, when my coach got into an accident, and she couldn't coach anymore, so I decided to. And she had met him when he came down with Kaltuma to compete in South Africa for the Indian series. So then she just said, I think he's the best person that you can. You need to get away from all the environment and kind of figure out and start afresh, not starting as your career, but so that you can have a continuum with your career to go on and continue what what we had as a plan.
Now,
so that's how I ended up being with John Canada and moving to Canada.
Yes. What's your advice to people who are taking part in the Olympics, and the do's and don'ts,
There are never do's and don'ts. I always say, as an athlete, you prepare very much, like everything that you do, your focus is to be the great athlete that you can possibly be. And also, I believe everybody, when you make it to that greater stage, which means you've put so much work, you've put so much effort, you've sacrificed so much. for you to be at that stage. And I always say, you know, you got to believe in you, you know, and you got to do your best of that very day or whatever that competition you're going to do. Is really once you get to the Olympics, there's never a lesser or whatever. You are part of the community, which means you are talented and you're a great athlete. So there's never really do's and don'ts. And I always say, skip to your plan, even if, you know, it's challenging like right now, you know, because as I say, I think champions are made in times of when you are being tested, because there is never a perfect time for a champion. When things get harder, when you have to prove your resilience, and when you have to stand up when things feels like you're going to lose it, they're going to slip out of your hands. And that's what makes a champion. And I really, really, you know, so proud of them that they have, even under the circumstances when you don't know the uncertainties, whether you're going to even make it to the Olympics, it's one thing. Then you qualify. When you've qualified and you've gone through, and then you also have this thing, that cloud that actually says, should I keep going? Will I be able to get to the stage and actually be able to perform? So now they're on the stage. Now you have, the situation is still the same, but you just gotta have to do the best. But when you look back and you say, I did it, you know, I was there and I did my best. And I think that's the best thing you can actually do for yourself.